All right, welcome to episode 45. Today we'll be talking about the continued effects of the coronavirus on Disney, things we're doing while we're social distancing ourselves, and more. Hi, everybody, I'm Loren, and I'm here with my cousin and co pilot, Rich.
Hello.
How's it going?
Oh, it's
Hey,
weird.
yeah, I know. Now that California is under lockdown,
Yeah. It,
yeah, it's pretty crazy. Who knew that it would get to this?
I don't. It's one of those things that you don't think would happen in modern times, but here we
I,
are.
I, I feel like we're in a zombie apocalypse right now. It's crazy.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's like people think that, and people are overreacting to not to the virus itself, but like everything else, like going out and hoarding everything. Like this morning, I live behind a grocery store, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's trucks constantly coming and going like normal. So they're getting the same amount of stuff that they used to, but people are just rushing and like, I guess, filling their pantries and cabinets and whatever with everything like that's not locked down. They're just grabbing. So, because I can see the line every morning outside my grocery store.
Yeah.
So at some
I,
point, people need to just realize, like everyone's been saying, it's like buy what you want normally. It's not it's not martial law. It's not an apocalypse. Just be smart. You know.
right. Yeah, we're not, there's not a food shortage.
No.
There's just, but I don't know if people were planning to hold themselves up the entire time. I mean, I'm going stir crazy already. And it's gotten to the point where I look forward to dialysis just to get out of the house. So,
Yeah.
so it's pretty crazy, but yeah, there's not a food shortage. I went into Target the other day and there was no bread. Literally, like not one shred of bread.
Right.
It's crazy.
And
Yeah,
it's not
it's
because there's no bread in the country. It's just that people keep just buying
people buying it.
way more than they really need.
Yeah.
And so yeah.
And they're gonna have this bread and it's gonna get moldy.
Right.
And it's crazy.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah.
yeah.
Eventually this will pass. But they're saying like 12 months that it might take to get some kind of vaccine going.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, like
Yeah.
step one is trying to slow it down, right? And so everyone just needs to be smart,
Right.
right? And until that happens, like it has to be. It's one of those things where everyone in this country has to do this so that it slows
Yeah.
down, and then once it slows down, everything hopefully will be quicker to the time when we can start living life again like normal.
Right. Right. Exactly. Well, it's been a really slow news cycle because everything's been shut down, but
Yeah.
we will get to it.
Yep.
All right, we start our news from within the castle gate for Disney news. And as you can tell, there is a lot of stuff going on with the coronavirus in Disney. It has halted all of its productions, both in terms of movies, in terms of Disney Plus stuff, until further notice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's sad because we need our entertainment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's one of the things that gets us through these dark times. At the same time, you don't want people to endanger their lives. I know for one, I'm not so concerned about myself, but I'm more concerned about my mom and her husband
Right.
and getting sick and things like that. People that I love that I don't want them to get sick.
Right.
And, I don't want people, cast members to get sick or anything like that. So
Yeah.
it's sad, but it's a sad
Necessary.
reality.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
for most of us, this is an unprecedented thing. Like we've never had to deal with something this bad in this country.
Hmm.
But like I work with a team of international people. Like my employees are everywhere, and
Yeah.
just like here, it's the same conversation. We're all talking about the coronavirus and everything that's going on in their country and things like that. And it's almost the same conversation everyone's having.
Yeah.
You know, Thailand, Argentina, Central America, everyone is on lockdown pretty much, and everyone's just hoping for the best.
Right. Right. Well, hopefully things will normalize soon. Disney right now is losing about $20 million a day, they say, because of the U.S. parks being closed. And it's made a statement to the SEC saying that it's difficult to predict its future while this is going on. So, again, scary times.
Yeah, I think it's the same everywhere. Entertainment,
Yeah,
theme parks, even just like normal businesses. The future is uncertain and it's kind of scary,
yeah,
but you know, we just gotta all pull together and hunker down.
yeah. I mean, the good news is that Disney's in a position where, even though this will hit them hard financially, I
Yeah,
mean, everybody's being hit hard.
yeah,
And I think there are smaller companies that are going to be hit
the,
even
well,
harder,
yeah,
which I feel so sad about. Like, take, for instance, restaurants. Nobody's allowed to eat
inside.
inside a restaurant now. What's going to happen to those restaurants if they don't have takeout or delivery?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, a lot
so,
of them have had to adjust their business plans to accommodate for takeout and things like that.
yeah.
Um,
And how do you do that?
um, I
It's
mean, haven't been in the restaurant business. You just have to adjust how, like, obviously there's supplies. Like, if you're not usually a takeout place, then you have to figure out
cut back.
how to package your food if you don't normally do that.
Hmm.
Your employees have to learn how to do that safely, and but unfortunately, a takeout only place doesn't really need a wait staff, so that could hurt unless they can adapt their employees. But yeah, I'd say if you're at home, take advantage of a lot of restaurants are offering specials on deliveries and all and whatnot, and you know while yeah, don't venture out as much as possible.
Hmm.
If you can try to you know uh,
Support businesses.
yeah, get your food from some of these places, especially like if there's a place that you really love that's local. Try to
Right.
order from them once a week maybe, something like that. Help them out
Hmm.
because it's gonna be
Okay.
everything's like pointing to like, oh, we're just gonna do this for 2 weeks or a month. I have a feeling it's gonna be longer than that.
Yeah, I
So
think so too.
everyone needs your help. But
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
Disney. At least with Disney, it's a big company. They have other avenues of revenue. I mean, luckily for them, Disney Plus came out before this happened,
Hmm.
and uh, it seems like there's a lot of people. I think I read somewhere like half half the people in this country have Disney Plus or something like that.
Right.
So, and they're still coming.
Yeah.
They're still coming out with content. Like I just noticed that Disney Inside Disney or whatever that was we talked about last time is out. So
Which one did you say?
the Inside Disney or Disney Inside,
Oh yeah, Disney Insider.
yeah. Like I
Yeah,
just
that came out
noticed.
today.
Yeah, I just noticed it was up there. I'm like, oh, okay. So there are
Yeah,
still things coming out. There's a lot you can binge watch on Disney Plus, definitely. Um,
for sure.
if you look at Castle Kings and Clones, Lawrence wrote a bunch of articles
Yeah,
with a lot of
and
different kinds of things. So,
I'll post links to it on our show notes.
right.
Yeah. Well, I think that Disney's going to be looking at different ways to do its entertainment this year, and one way that they're doing it, the kind of the bright moment in this all is that they're releasing Onward on video. It's going to be available for digital download tonight, which is Friday, March 20th. And then it'll be on Disney Plus on April 3rd. So thankfully, people will be able to see that film because I felt so bad for it,
Yeah, it just
you
came
know,
out at a really unfortunate time.
at a bad time.
I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, I was supposed to watch it last weekend, but everything got worse, and so we decided to err on with caution and not go.
Yeah.
So I'm
And
glad.
now you can watch it tonight if you want.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna wait till it goes on Disney Plus.
Disney Plus.
So yeah, because money is also one of those things you got to kind of worry about nowadays. So,
Yeah, for sure.
um, but yeah, I'm hoping something soon like this happens with Milan, Black Widow. You know, because like I said, we don't know when this thing's gonna go back to normal. You know.
Well, Universal has is releasing some of its movies,
Yeah.
and but for like this price of 19.95 for 48 hours, that's crazy.
Well, I
But
mean,
I mean,
it depends on
go ahead.
what you're looking at. I mean, you would normally go to a theater. This is what it's aiming
Yeah,
toward. It's not a digital release. It's not a home release. It's an alternative to going out to the theater. If you have a family, and especially like that Trolls movie, right? That's a
yeah,
family movie. Mom, dad, some kids. Right there is definitely more than $20 if you're going to the
right.
theater. Plus, if you want to
Yeah,
watch
that's what I was
food, whatever.
thinking.
So it caters more to group settings. Like if say Black Widow came out and they said it's $20 for 48 hours, your family could watch it. You know, um, and that kind of negates the whole $20 kind of thing. If you go into it knowing that this is in lieu of a theatrical release because they can't do it,
True.
right?
And if you watch it more than once in that 48
Yeah,
hours, then that's like two tickets
yeah,
right there. So, yeah. Well, we'll see what they do with future entertainment. I kind of hope that they go that model this year,
yeah,
where they release Mulan and Black Widow, maybe video on demand like that,
yeah.
but then making something like New Mutants available for digital download because I don't think that film is ever going to see the light of day. I feel so
Yeah,
bad for
I
that
feel
film.
like major releases, like the ones are gonna make a lot of money. Like if
Right.
this was December, I would have totally paid $20 to watch Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker
Hmm.
at home.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, you know, I know you want to avoid large gatherings of people, but a couple friends makes it worth it, I think.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
for sure.
yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I thought about this as the entertainment business has, you know, evolved and changed. A lot of people get their content online. A lot of people get their content from streaming services. Going out to the movies is getting more expensive. Like here in
Hmm.
Orange County, for one person, it could be almost $20 to go to the movie. So like, 19.99 for 48 hours of the comfort of your home, for 48 hours is comparable. I know like some of the
Yeah.
places is a little cheaper to go to the movies, but here it's real expensive. So I don't see it
Yeah.
as that bad of a thing as an alternative to going out to the movies. So
Yeah. I went to a matinee,
yeah,
and I for that and my snacks, I spent like over $30.
yeah.
So it's pretty crazy.
Just invest in some popcorn at home, some candy, whatever. It's definitely cheaper than movie theater prices.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then
Exactly.
a lot of people have big screen TVs and crazy things. So sit the
Hmm.
family down, and what would probably cost you, say, family of four, $60 for tickets, and then probably another $15-$20 for food and drinks and whatever.
Hmm.
I mean, instead of paying $80, you're paying 20. That seems like a
Yeah.
pretty good discount.
I absolutely agree.
So, yeah,
Uh,
it's
yeah.
just
So we'll see what happens this
yeah,
year.
it's just the way you look at it. Like don't think of it as a release of home video. It's the new theatrical release kind of thing, first run
Mhm.
kind of thing. So
Yeah. Might be the new normal.
yeah,
Who knows?
or Just have to wait until the normal cycle of when things come to home video. You know, if Onward went through its normal thing, we wouldn't have seen it on home video till maybe the end of summer, probably fall.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on. Director, and I'm gonna strangle this name, mangle it. Manjari Makijani. I think that sounds right. She is set to direct the dance movie Spin for Disney Plus. And I'm hoping that, I don't want to make assumptions because she's South Asian, Indian, of Indian descent, but I would love to see a Bollywood movie on Disney Plus. So I'm kind of hoping that's where this film is going, but who knows?
yeah, I'm no idea, but it'd be kind of fun, I think, to see a
I
Bollywood
love
movie.
Bollywood. Yeah, I love Bollywood. Like I'm obsessed with the Bollywood dancing. So I think it would be really cool. I think it would be much cooler than your standard hip hop kind of dance movie.
Yeah,
That, to have something a little bit different, a little bit more uh, culturally relevant as well.
yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah,
like
I'm all
hip
for
hop
it.
things have been done. You know, the kind of standard dancing things have been done. You know, Bollywood stuff. It's fun. I mean, they featured it in some other like normal TV shows. Like I was watching Expedition Unknown or whatever it's called with Josh Gates on like Discovery or
Yeah,
one of those channels, and he was, I think, in Southeast Asia, and in the middle of it, it's a documentary series of like reality kind of thing, but in the middle of it, they just did a Bollywood number because, right? They featured it in Legends of Tomorrow on the CW, um,
yeah,
so it's not like it's not like an unknown thing. Like people know what it
yeah.
is. So it'd be cool to bring it mainstream. It's like the musicals of old kind of thing, or like the breakdancing movies of the '80s, like Breakin'
Yeah.
and Breakin' Two, Electric Boogaloo,
Like Electric Boogaloo.
which were fun movies
Bring
back
me
then,
back.
right? You know,
Right. Yeah. So hopefully it'll be something Bollywoody, but if not,
if not,
I'll watch it because it's on Disney
of
Plus.
course.
Um, Speaking of Disney Plus, they will be airing a celebration of the music from Coco on April 10th, and that this is the what they did at the Hollywood Bowl with Eva Longoria and oh my God, what's his name? Benjamin Bratt.
Huh,
Uh, yeah, and they just performed all the music from
well,
Coco.
that's cool.
So yeah, I'm really excited about it because I love the music from that
Yeah,
movie.
such a good movie.
So
Such a good movie.
yeah,
If you haven't seen it, go watch it on Disney Plus.
yeah, yeah, exactly on Disney Plus.
Right? It
Doot,
is
doot,
on
doot,
Disney
doot.
Plus, right?
Yeah, it is
Right.
on Disney Plus.
It's
So.
that's weird. Like sometimes I'm not sure which ones are out on Disney Plus because of previous contracts, right?
Yeah,
Because I keep getting like Stars, the Stars app advertisements, and like you would think it was Disney Plus because it's all like Disney properties like they're
oh
using to
really?
advertise. So it must be like the remaining titles that
Movies
they
that
still have. So I'm like, that's weird. So
yeah,
I'm still not sure what all is on Disney Plus, but if not now, it will be soon. So
yeah,
yeah,
for sure. And Coco is definitely on Disney Plus.
there
So
you go. Sweet.
yeah. All right. Well, moving on to the Clone Cantina for our Star Wars news. So there was an interview that Ryan Johnson, the director of The Last Jedi, did, and he said that he hoped that, or he wished that there was a test screening for the movie. And I don't know how I feel about that
No,
because,
I mean, no, I don't agree with it.
yeah,
I mean, for what anyone says about the Last Jedi, it's it has its fans and it has its detractors.
hmm
Um, It's just that in this day and age of social media, the negative people use their voice and they use their voice a lot. And so
Right.
it seems like everyone hated that movie, but you know, just kind of like the prequels. When the prequels came out, there was so much hate for it, but that's because the people that loved it didn't really need to voice it over and over again that they loved it. But now, those same people that grew up on the prequels are, the view on the prequels nowadays, if you look at fandom, is that people love the prequels. So
Hmm.
I feel like, give it a couple of years, the people who grew up on the sequel trilogy will love all of these movies.
Yeah,
So, um,
for sure.
yeah, I mean, like, it's always in hindsight, like, yeah, I wish you could have screen tested. I'm pretty sure um, J.J. Abrams maybe wanted to screen test Rise of Skywalker, but all that does, like, I don't know what that would have done for Last Jedi. Would he have changed anything? Would he have compromised his vision?
That's exactly it. That's
Right.
exactly the reason why I don't know how I feel about a test screening because then, to me, the film is great as it is, and I don't think that it needed any more editing. And I look at Rise of Skywalker and how that seemed to be a film by committee. Basically they took all the fan suggestions
Yeah.
and crammed it all into one film. And the thing that I loved about The Last Jedi was that it was unique. It was his take on, what was going on.
Yeah.
And I think that it was a much stronger film because of that.
Yeah. I think time will in time, Last Jedi is gonna be looked at in a different eye. Give it a couple of years, right? Take the whole series as a whole. Look at the whole, like, even just the sequel trilogy as a whole, and you can see that the Last Jedi was a progression. That Star Wars needed. Um, like, critically, people loved it. People like me and you
Mhm.
love it. Um, it's just, I think there was an initial reaction that it wasn't what people expected,
Right.
um, and that kind of didn't sit well with them. But you know, give it time.
Yeah.
Like, people who don't like it, I would suggest really watching the accompanying documentary, The Director and the Jedi, to really get into the process of how that was made,
Hmm.
um, and the thought process that Ryan Johnson had. You know, he was given basically a movie that ended on a cliffhanger ish, and a movie that begged for the next movie to take place right after it happened. And so he really had to make Force Awakens point 1.5, because the way that Force Awakens ended, with Rey giving the lightsaber to Luke and then just ending it right there, it's like, all right, do you time jump from there, or do you
Hmm.
take that moment and then continue on? So it was like basically Ryan Johnson, instead of, like when Empire came out, that was like 2 years after Star Wars: A New Hope. When Attack of the Clones came out, that was 10 years after Phantom Menace. This was literally
Hmm.
like 2 seconds after The Force Awakens. So it's barely like the next hour what happened. So
Yeah.
he didn't have room to really grow characters, because a character's arc in from Force Awakens to Last Jedi, it's such a short. It'd be like next hour, all of a sudden my character had an arc, and it's like,
Hmm.
how does that work? And he gave him so many questions that were not answered from the Force Awakens. Like, why is Luke by himself? Why is he not? Why didn't he come to the rush, to the aid of Han Solo and Leia? Why is it that he needs to be found? You know, um, what's with that island? Who is Snoke? And then Ryan Johnson did the best he could with a story that he had to continue, that didn't really have a direction.
Right.
He made the most logical choice. Like, with Luke. it's always going to be like, well, what could he have done? He had to answer the question: why is he by himself? Why did he not
Hmm.
help Leia? Why did he run away? And why didn't he come to like? Why didn't he foresee that Han was in danger like he did before?
Yeah.
That's what Ryan Johnson was given. He had to answer that. And the only really way to do it is that Luke was hiding. Luke removed himself from the Force. And
Hmm.
if you're going to remove yourself from the Force, that means you lost faith. So he told the story that he could, and then if you look at it, Luke at the end refound his purpose. You know, give it like agree or not with how it all ended with him, but he had in that little short time. You see the man who used to be the hero in the old trilogy, now years later, broken because bad stuff keep happening, and like his teachers before him, he went into exile.
Hmm.
You know, but because of Rey, he found himself again. Like Yoda came back because Yoda had to learn that too in the Force. Like Yoda was also one of those people who instigated like lying and not and like having you know withholding a lot of information from Luke and kind of manipulating him in a way to get what they wanted, both Yoda and Obi-Wan. Um,
Right.
and with Yoda, he had to learn while also when he once he became part of the living force, and he imparted his knowledge onto Luke to remind him what the Force is, what being a Jedi is, what being a master Jedi is.
Hmm.
So I'll always think like that is definitely a great story for Luke Skywalker to end. And that's,
I agree.
we still have 30 years in between. People can write stories. Obviously, we couldn't cast Mark Hamill as 30-year-old Luke,
No.
right? So, and I doubt people are going to accept a recasting this soon. Like, if they're ever going to do movies based on Han, Leia, and Luke in a live action, they have the recast, obviously. But I don't think
Yeah.
people accept it until much later, when, when they're way too older, or maybe they've passed already, and will be totally older and whatever. And like the generation that grew up with Harrison Ford, Carrie, and Mark will have gone also. Like probably after our time, people could go back like, let's go revisit those stories and cast new people. Or there's always animation, and there's always books, there's always comics. So we'll still have Luke as what everyone wanted. The epic Jedi Grand Master. I'm sure they can have stories where he shows off those skills, and same thing with Leia. It's just we're following them at the end of their cycle, because this is basically a trilogy not focused on them. They were the background players on this one. So
And now we try on our capes and cowls with our Marvel news. So going back to the coronavirus,
oh,
Black. Yeah, I know exactly. Black Widow has now officially been taken off the release date of May 1st, and it's going to be pushed back as well. So, again, talking about how maybe we will see Disney redefine how they do entertainment this year,
yeah.
and seeing what they do with Black Widow.
I think the decision made that was made to remove it indefinitely and not have a release date was around the same time they're probably like, what should we do with Onward?
Right.
And I think they're going to see what happens with Onward and see if people you know buy the movie tonight and or throughout the next 2 weeks, and how the response is. Um, and I think also people are going to watch what's going on with Universal and the release of the Trolls movie, and see if
Yeah.
it's a viable solution. Um, and so I wouldn't be surprised that we see a different release for Black Widow, almost like the way that Universal is doing it. So
I agree. I agree. I definitely agree. I really want to watch a movie, so I'm hoping that we don't have to wait until next year or later this year or next year
Yeah.
to watch it. But from what I understand, it won't affect anything in the timeline, uh, you know, wherever it gets placed. So, like, take for instance, if Falcon and the Winter Soldier comes out first, then it won't. What we learned in Black Widow, which we know it's not in the
Yeah, because it takes place
overall
before
timeline.
everything else is coming out right now.
Right,
So
right, exactly. Like before, probably after Winter Soldier.
yeah,
So it won't impact any of that, which is so it's good that at least whatever's happening, this won't kind of mess up
yeah.
people's viewing schedules.
It would have been strange if this happened last year
Hmm.
before Endgame came out, or things like that. So luckily,
Right.
Black Widow is almost like a standalone at this point movie.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, moving on, Marvel's Hulu series Hellstrom has wrapped production, and I completely forgot that they were still doing the series. Uh, I'm really curious to see what the series is going to be about. I think it's going to be similar to what Fox did with Lucifer. I think it was Fox, or was it the CW? I can't remember.
I don't remember what it's on.
But basically, sexy devil guy
Right.
doing doing whatever he does. So I think that it's probably going to end up something like that.
What is it going to be on? Oh, it's Hulu. Never mind. It's right there. um, is there like big names attached to it?
Not that I know of. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see who watches it. But it's on the streaming service. Hulu kind of has some good shows, so I think that it will be
Yeah.
good, whatever it is that they
Right.
do.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with the story, so hopefully it works.
Hmm. Yeah, basically he's the son of Satan,
Right.
and
So is
that's
this like the
basically
Marvel version of Lucifer?
kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Except he's not the devil himself,
Right.
but
But
pretty much it's like sexy devil guy.
yeah. Right.
All right. Well, moving on. The Minutemen, who are kind of the timeline police force, are rumored to be in Loki on Disney Plus. And I'm not as familiar with them, but it sounds about right because
Right.
if they have the time variance authority,
Right.
then you would think that they would have some kind of police force
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
And
I'm not familiar with it either. So
yeah, and it looked like the people from the stills that they had from Loki that there were people dressed in uniforms similar to the Minutemen. So anyway, that's it. That's our news right there.
yay.
All right, now on to our main topic. So we are now on lockdown in California, at least, and I'm sure that other states are following suit, and there are federal guidelines. But basically, we can't go out with unless it's essential travel. So we're pretty much stuck at home
Yeah.
through this all and doing our social distancing. And the parks are closed, and so, in order to avoid going really stir crazy, we thought we'd come up with some tips on what to do while you're social distancing yourself. So, you want to talk about some of the things that you're doing?
All my stuff is creative. I'm trying to grow this brand, the Castle Kids and Clones. I've
Hmm.
mentioned before I want to do a Star Wars specific podcast,
Yes.
and so I am reading, which really means I'm re-listening because I have all the books on Audible. I actually don't know where my physical books are. Because I've moved. I can't keep moving with like a box of books is really heavy.
Boxes
People,
of books.
it's so
Yeah.
heavy. Like it's in storage somewhere. Actually, no, I donated my books because I had the ones I wanted to keep, And then I started buying a lot of books on Audible because I used to have a long commute. It was the best way for me to be able to read books. But
Yeah, quote unquote.
there are I'm not gonna go through. So I've decided to do the podcast. I was gonna wait until the High Republic stuff came out and just start fresh from the High Republic stuff, but because of what's going on, I decided to start it a little bit earlier to give everyone a little bit more content. Not in days where probably people are just trying to find something to watch on Netflix, on Hulu, on Disney Plus, on YouTube. So, um, basically, it's gonna be aimed at uh, not like just Legends books, but I think stories and characters and things of that nature that if you're a casual fan of Star Wars, you may have heard of in places. Um, so I'm going to do that. So I'm starting with the trilogy of books that started the resurgence of Star Wars back in like '89 or something like that,
Hmm.
which is Timothy Zahn's Thrawn trilogy. So I'm going to go through each book again, and then just talk about what happened, what characters were introduced, and the impact that those books had on Star Wars fandom. Um, so I'm doing that. I'm going to do some of the comics. Like I'm going to go through the Vader comic because it kind of tells the story of Vader after A New Hope. I'm going to talk about the Dr. Aphra comic. I'm going to go through what's going on in video games with Battlefront and the characters that were introduced in the campaign on Battlefront 2, which is mentioned in some of the books leading up to Rise of Skywalker. I'm
Hmm.
going to go through Jedi Fallen Order with Cal Kestis. Um, and then we'll go from there. We'll see how long that takes until the High Republic stuff comes out. And once the High Republic books come out, I'll go through that and we'll talk about those books books and other content from the High Republic as time
I
goes
like,
on.
I like it.
Yeah. Um, I'm currently doing a Star Wars movie marathon. I'm not doing back to back like one right after the other, like on a day basis. Like I'm not watching two movies in the same day. Every day I've
Hmm.
watched one of the Star Wars movies in chronological order. Um,
Right.
so yesterday was A New Hope, which was day 6 because I went through Phantom Menace, I went through Attack of the Clones, I went through Revenge of the Sith, um, Solo, and then Rogue One, and then yesterday was A New Hope. So because I wanted to watch Rise of Skywalker after watching the rest of them because I obviously bought it when it came out, but I didn't watch it, so I'm gonna watch that again at the end of everything. So there's that, and then I have a bunch of Legos that I have not put together, uh, that are mostly Star Wars ones and the Tron Lifecycle one. So
Hmm.
I'm probably gonna next do a video of that, put it up somewhere.
Right.
So
Nice. And don't forget about your lightsaber collection
hmm.
that you've been organizing that.
Oh yeah, you can see behind me a lightsaber collection. Um, Once the parks open, I do plan on replacing because I have some cheaper ones. Well, not cheap, but like really generic ones that I use for film, and I want to replace them with some of the ones from Galaxy's Edge. So
Yeah.
not that. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Well, I have a bunch of things that I've been doing. One of them, as we talked about earlier, I've been posting uh, different kinds of shows to binge watch, movies and documentaries that I've been watching. Thank God for Disney Plus because
Mhm.
there's so much content out there. The other day, I was watching the documentary Jane, which is about Jane Goodall.
Right.
Uh, Incredible documentary, and people don't know about it, I don't think. And so I just really wanted to talk about some of the hidden gems that are out there that people, should be watching, like The Journey of Natty Gann. We've talked about that movie here before,
Right.
but it really is a great movie.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy it. So that's one of the things that I'm doing. I'm also playing the Collect Disney card game on my phone, and I'll show you what it looks like here. But this is what it looks like, and you can open different cards. This is like a tilt card. So if you tilt it, I don't know if you can see this, but it changes the card. And there's just a lot of cool artwork on here that you can do, and every day there's something that you can do on collect magic gifts, which are different cards. You can spin the Wishcaster. You could craft cards. So that's another one of those things that I'm doing. Uh, I also love to window shop on shopdisney.com. It's so fun. Uh, you know, I say window shop, but I also buy things.
So basically shopping.
uh, yeah, all of the Disney stores are closed right now, and aside from the fact that we don't have a Disney store up where I live, I just love to go through the website and look at what there is, or the app, look what there is to buy, make wish lists for anything that I can't buy now, and then buy what I can. So that's another thing that I'm doing.
Cool.
I also am curating my Disney collectibles. Now, when I go to the Disney parks or wherever, I always collect a bunch of stuff because I love to look at the stuff later. And I often just toss it in a box to be organized later. So now that I have the time, what I'm doing, like this is an example of what I'm doing. So I take like a box like this and I fill it with stuff that are, that I've collected. Um, Take, for instance, this is my Marvel box. And I have this comic book that was from D23. Let's see, what else do I have here? In here, I have an Avengers pin. I've got a Captain America patch. I've got so much stuff in here. I've got the Heroes Assembled, what do you call this, lanyard. So there's a lot of stuff in here, and I have different kind of themed boxes. So I have like one for the Lunar New Year, one for Star Wars, whatever it is that I may fancy. So at least I'm getting a chance to organize those.
Nice.
And then the final thing that I'm doing is I'm going through my old Art of Disney books and just enjoying them again. Like take for instance, I have this from 1998, this giant The Art of Mulan book. So much good stuff in here. Look at that. So good. I also have, since we're sharing is caring, this is my old Disney animation, The Illusion of Life, excuse me, book. And it's so ragged. I can't really open it that far without it trying to fall apart. But one of the cool things about it, and the thing that I just kind of love looking at occasionally, is that it was signed by Ollie Johnson, Frank Thomas, and Mark Davis. So that's another one. And then, finally, my Inside Out book, one of my favorite movies. I love to look at the illustrations in here. So these are just some of the books that I look at. And then finally, and I think I'm going to put together a list of this kind of like as your own virtual theme park. It's now that the parks are closed, but I love to watch ride-throughs on YouTube and parades. And so I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to put together a page of videos that I love to watch. And I'll post that also on our blog and on our show notes once I get that done. So those are
Very cool.
some of the things that I'd like to do. And, if you have anything that you like to do, please share it with us and we'll share it on our show.
Yep.
All right. Well, we have come to the end of our broadcast. and we surely appreciate you coming and listening to our show. I know there's a lot of podcasts out there, and please be sure to leave us a good review on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts. You know, get those 5 stars out there. It really helps us to get seen out there. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And you can watch our video here on there and other videos that we'll be posting. And then you can reach us at podcast@castlecapesandclones.com. Leave us any kind of feedback that you can, good or bad. We love to hear from you. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, I would also encourage, if you're watching it on YouTube, use the comment section. That's a good way if you want to converse with us there.
Yes. Yeah.
And then always, like and subscribe, hit the little bell for notifications. Because of what's going on, like I've said, we are going to work on more content. I know, besides the Star Wars thing, try to get Loren to do some other stuff as
To
well.
Marvel and
Yeah.
maybe talk a little bit about character hunting, and we're always looking for content that you might be interested in. So, definitely let us know what you want to hear or watch, things like that. So,
Yep.
definitely for sure.
So until next time, catch you on the flip side.